Hi, this is Vincent Wang. I would like to introduce my latest book called Evidence-Based Maintenance of Medical Equipment. This book is written for clinical engineering HTM professionals who want to keep medical equipment safe and reliable using the outcomes-based method. This is also a good resource for those who are struggling to adopt and implement the AEM program. Some of our colleagues say, why you want to use the AEM program? It's too complicated and risky, so why we just don't follow the manufacturer recommendations? Unfortunately, this is not that easy. First, can you get all the OEM recommendations in terms of service manual, software keys, etc.? What do you do with equipment that the OEM has ceased to exist or declared to be obsolete or out of support? Do you have all the resources that you need to perform the maintenance per manufacturer recommendation? So the bottom line here is that we must adopt AEM because of these challenges. Indeed, it's not easy to implement AEM because of the requirements imposed by CMS and its accreditation organizations. Here you have a list of the requirements. I will not go into them in detail because it would take too much time here. But one way to implement AEM is to use the evidence-based maintenance method that is described in my book. So what is evidence-based maintenance? Here is a definition. A continual improvement process that analyzes the effectiveness of maintenance resources deployed in comparison to outcomes achieved previously or elsewhere, and make necessary adjustments to maintenance planning and implementation. Like most definitions, it is not easy to understand and absorb immediately. So I think I should present an analogy for you to understand. In this picture, I'm showing the resources I need to go out fishing. This second picture shows the fishing process that I deploy to catch fish. And this last picture shows the outcome of my fishing expedition. If I don't catch fish, it means that I need to go back and evaluate and improve my resources and or processes in order to ensure the outcome is satisfactory. Now you understand why I have the fish in my hands on the cover of my book. Obviously, evidence-based maintenance name is chosen to mimic evidence-based medicine. Indeed, they are very similar with some differences that are pretty obvious. The clinicians treat a real human being as a patient, whereas for us, the patient is a piece of medical equipment. The rest is basically analogous from one end to the other. So it is very easy and simple for you to go to your clinical colleagues and explain what they are trying to do in terms of improving your maintenance processes. The key innovation in evidence-based maintenance compared to what we have been doing in the last 3-4 decades is simply to determine the root causes of the equipment failures and try to find solutions throughout the life cycle of medical equipment in hospitals. Not only preventive maintenance and safety and performance inspections, as well as corrective maintenance, but also replacement, user training, equipment planning, acquisition. They have all opportunities for us to improve the safety and reliability of medical equipment. Here are the failure cause codes that we have adopted, my colleagues and I, previously. And they have helped us to pinpoint the real causes of the problems and the appropriate solutions. Obviously, you can develop your own set of causes and cause codes. However, I would highly recommend that you use as few as possible in order to make the collection of data more promptly and easily, as well as allowing you to analyze the data meaningfully. The Evidence-based maintenance process is pretty simple. It is similar to what we have done in the past. You have to plan maintenance properly, and then you have to implement. Here now, the difference is that besides the completion rate that we need to monitor, we need to identify the causes of the failures. And then in the monitoring and evaluation stage of maintenance process, we need to compare the AEM results against OEM results or other methods that have been deployed, as well as use user and staff feedback to help us determine whether we are doing the right things or we need to improve. And the improvement is obviously the last step of this process. And for those who are familiar with the quality improvement process, this is nothing but the plan, do, check, act process. Or for those who are from this science background, we will recognize this as the scientific method that has been adopted for several centuries. So here is an example of the maintenance evaluation comparing AEM versus manufacturer's recommendation for a particular set of medical equipment and using data from several hospitals. As you can see, there is no clear difference whatsoever, and therefore we are justified in using AEM to keep equipment safe and reliable. Here is an example of the evaluation of safety of the maintenance methods that have been used for a large independent service organization. During a whole decade, this organization had only 6 cases of incidents that is related to maintenance. That was really a small, very, very small number compared to the number of pieces of equipment managed, almost 10 million, as well as well over 10 million service events. Another example is how the reliability can be evaluated using evidence-based maintenance method. This is for a single hospital group with 3 sites, and the analysis of the failure cause codes showed that there are some cases that are a little bit above the average and needs to be looked into, and surprisingly that the maintenance was performed according to OEM recommendations. However, it was found that the recommendations are not sufficient to keep equipment safe and reliable, and so was necessary to increase the frequency of the scheduled maintenance recommended by the manufacturer. So I hope that this brief introduction helped you understand what this book is about, which is available on Amazon. And also, you are welcome to contact me directly via email if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions. Thank you so much for your time and attention today.